Hi there, I'm Kerry Grinkmeyer. I'm the host of the Best of Us Investors YouTube channel. And I want to talk to you today about a change in the law. In fact, it happened on Election Day, November the 3rd. The SEC changed the rules under which you could become a venture capitalist. Yeah, you could get involved with a company in its startup stage that you could be in a position to make a ton of money. And it's not known by most people at this point. So I want to explain it to you. Let's first of all explain a little bit more about who I am. I'm a retired financial advisor. I worked for what was originally IDS, which became American Express Financial Advisors, which is now Ameriprise. It's a system of 10,000 or more advisors around the country, and I got to where I was the number one franchisee in the country. And then I sold my business in November the 5th. And so what I'm doing now is sharing my knowledge, sharing my experience and my insights to the markets. As I said, I managed a lot of money, and I got to understand how the markets work and what some of the terminology is and what some of the hurdles are you have to come over. So that's what I want to do. I want to help you do three things. One is make better investment decisions. Avoid making impulsive decisions, but understand the markets, understand the economy, understand the future, and put yourself in a position of ownership of companies that grow. So make better investment decisions. Number two, keep more of what you make. As a financial advisor, a big part of my job was explaining to people how to own their assets and how to avoid taxes. And then the third part was how to pass that money on to your heirs, and that is to build family wealth that will then make a difference in the lives of those who follow you. So this is an element of what we call venture capital. If you need to understand venture capital, it's basically a closed door to most people because the SEC doesn't feel that you're sophisticated enough to understand the investment markets, that you should be able to invest money in startups, in companies that have a great idea and some good talent, but they just need some cash. But the SEC feels that you're really not sophisticated enough to do that. So they say you have to be an accredited investor. What is accredited investor? Well, the first step is you got to have a net worth, not including your personal residence, of $1 million or more. So that closes the door to most people. You got to have an income, if you're an individual, and a repetitive income of $200,000 or more. If you're married or have a significant other, you have to have over $300,000 of annual income. So that closes the door to most people. I did a video back on, July the 17th. You might want to look for it. And it asks the question, if you saw the original Amazon, would you recognize it for what it was? And what stimulated that video was one of the tribe members, the members of Best of Us Investors.com, wrote me and said that back in 1994, he was walking his dog in Seattle, Washington on Pine Street, and came in contact with a gentleman also walking his dog, and he asked what he was doing, and the guy said that he was building a website to sell books. Well, as it turned out, that was Jeff Bezos. And he kicked himself, or the tribe member, that he didn't invest with Jeff. Well, the reality is he probably couldn't have because Jeff was raising venture capital. And at the time, he would have had to been an accredited investor. And if he was an accredited investor, he probably wouldn't have been living on Pine Street and had $1 million worth of net worth, not including his home. So that probably wouldn't have happened. So what has changed? Well, the way that venture capital is governed or regulated is that it comes in tiers under Regulation A. Under Tier 1, a company can raise up to $20 million in a given year. That means that they're going out and getting $20 million to finance the growth of their company. And then under most companies, that would probably take them, unless they're a biotech or some high-tech company, that would probably take them for a number of years. Regulation A Tier 2 was for up to $50 million. They have raised that effective November the 3rd up to $75 million. Again, you've got to be an accredited investor. Now, they also had a Regulation CF, and that is crowdfunding, okay? Under that regulation, you could get involved, but it had a limit of $1,007,000. Well, there isn't much you can do with a startup with $1,007,000. It won't get you through the first year. So it didn't require a accredited investor status. And you've probably seen some of these. There are websites that do this, but they have to operate under this Regulation CF. So what happened on November 3rd? The SEC raised that amount that Regulation CF startup could raise up to $5 million. Okay? So what that's saying is that could finance a company for over a year, maybe 2 years, maybe 3 years. And then once they get that and they get up and running, and maybe they get to the point where they're actually generating some cash flow, then they can move on to the next level. The key to this is, though, you might be one of the investors. You are going to see, as a result of this, much as you see these SPACs and other ways that people become listed, you're going to see companies that are going to be pitching you, just like through Robinhood or through Webull or through whatever, that you could invest some money. Now, let's think of what that might look like. Let's say that there is a tech company, and you've got some 22-year-olds who have a marvelous idea, and they want to start a company, and they put it out there, and they're trying to get 10,000 investors to put up $500 each, which will give them that startup capital of $5 million. And you could be one of those investors. Now, what you've got to then be savvy to is, what do you own? Do you own part of the stock of that new company? And then how many additional shares can they issue in the future? Again, if they can dilute your stock down to where your $500 isn't worth much because you own such a minuscule share of the company, then it's not a good deal. So you've got to become some level of a sophisticated investor to understand what your $500 or your $5,000 and substantially less investors, you got to understand what you're buying. But I want to bring this to your attention because it's going to appear. It is a door that had just opened up that is going to attract an awful lot of attention. You've probably not heard about this from anybody else, but I read a little bit more than most people, and I'm looking for things like this. And again, I look at it from my point of view. What would they have to present to me for me to be one of the 1,000 $5,000 investors? What would I have to know? Well, it's probably going to come here in Birmingham. We have what we call an incubation center. And this is a It's an old Sears Roebuck building is what it is. And young people come there and rent office space at a very minuscule rate. And then they communicate with each other to help them grow these startup companies. This is where you're going to find this. And I would, if this is the kind of thing that you're interested in, I would Google it in my city. And I know they have boards that people can serve on or organizations that you can become a part of. And you will find that out of this place, you're going to find where people are going to be knowledgeable of this regulation CF that gives them the ability to raise $5 million from non-accredited investors. This always used to be done by the country club group who meet at the country club, and they call themselves angel investors, and they do their research, and they get in on these things, and you have not been allowed to. It's now, the door is opening. This is something that you want to pay attention to in 2021. Again, understand what is about to happen to your world. Your world is going to change so dramatically as a result of, number one, putting the coronavirus behind us and opening the door to technology, to disruption, to the technology revolution that is about to happen. Now, again, my mainstay for investing, because I believe this is all data-driven. This is data that is sorted by artificial intelligence, that is then sorted and sliced and diced by machine learning, then that is picked up by quantum computing, and it's fed back to me in a form that is going to change my life. And in every regard of my life, my health, my transportation, my entertainment, my education, it's all going to change. And it's going to change rapidly. And I'm going to be in a position to take advantage of it because I understand it. And I see it coming. It's like someone opened a window and they said, okay, only 2% of the population is allowed to look out this window. And I got there in the front row. And I know what's coming. So I own Google, Amazon, Apple, Facebook, Microsoft, Square, Tesla. I'm going to add Uber. Look what Uber did today, the day after the election. A lot of it had to do with the law that was changed relative to independent contractors in California and the Uber and Lyft drivers. But this is a company that's going to deliver you everything and anything, and it's going to do without a driver. So that with Tesla, with these other people, that's where the future is. But I want you to understand you have just been put in a position to become a venture capitalist. You have been put in a position where you can buy a startup. You don't have to wait for the IPO. You can buy a startup and you can be an angel investor. Okay, that's part of what I want to share with you on a regular basis. I want to open windows for you. I want you not to be limited to what you know. I want you to see the new horizons that are on the horizon, the new opportunities, so that you can make better investment decisions, keep more of what you make, and build family wealth. Those are my goals. That's what I'll give to you. I do a live stream now. I'm going to do it every Sunday. I think I'm going to do it at 3 o'clock. It's going to be for members only. And what do I mean by members? Members of my tribe, members that support my channel. If you want to be a part of that, if this is the kind of information you want to hear first, you need to go down in the right below here, and it says, join. In that box, you press join. It will bring up, and you pledge $3.99 a month, and you will get my members only. You also get a badge and some emojis. This whole purpose of this is not to support the channel. I'll support the channel out of my pocket. This is to support my cause, and that is to find a cure for cancer. And if you want to know more about that, hit the join. I'll explain it to you. That's my passion in life. And so that's where I'm going. Help me out with that, and I'll help you out with your investments with first-run information like this. Okay, I'm Kerry Grinkmeyer. I'm a retired financial advisor, and I'm here to help you.